And we are live. Welcome to the Call to Action podcast, episode 46, almost at 50. This is a special episode, everybody. We have a packed house and then some. So let me start off by talking about our one and only super special guest, Abby Freel is in the house, everybody. Abby.
Woo!
Yay!
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk San Diego events. It's going to be really fun.
Oh, gosh, yes. We are so excited about it. We have just a fantastic guest reactor with us and Abby on this one. We're gonna play a whole bunch of questions with her and really dig into that Schmoedown mind as this episode goes on. But like I said, we have a packed house, so let me go ahead and get through the rest of this cast, starting next with, of course, my soul sister, Call to Arms, Call to Action, Alex Mack, everybody.
What up?
Yeah. Also in the house and also working that chat like a... I was going to make an inappropriate comment. That's Danny. Danny Costa, everybody.
Salute.
Yeah.
What up, guys?
Also lurking in the shadows is the one, the only Paul Denuzio. Nobody ever gets it right. I don't really know what it is at this point. Paul?
It is Denuzio, spelled Denuzo, so we're all good.
There's an invisible eye. You heard it here first.
Exactly.
Dun, dun,
Shadows.
Yeah. Silent and invisible. Last but certainly not least, one of my favorites, high blood pressure himself, Billy, the man Belford, everybody.
This tonight is not bullshit. This is amazing. Abby Freel in the house.
Heart attack humanoid. That's all I said.
Wow.
The only. But
She's dishing some chi at me. Is that what the kids say?
I'm thinking of the Hannah
Did I use
Montana
that
song
right?
right now.
I'm going for the.
So, enough speaking on Billy Belford's health issues that may or may not actually exist. Let's talk a little bit more with our guest Abby. Abby's in the house. Abby Freel. You can catch her at her wonderful Twitter reactions to pretty much a lot of things Schmoedown. She also has her own reaction videos with Tea Time. Abby, you can talk more about it because that's your whole content. So you take the lead. Plug yourself.
Yes, thank you. So I actually started the reaction threads last summer with the collision, and it kind of got picked up at the end of 2018 with the spectacular, and then this year at the collision, it totally blew up. And then I had already started this summer doing my little analysis videos and like just reaction recaps. And I had been wanting to do that for a while. So this summer I sat myself down and I was like, you're going to be a Schmoedown reactor, because I had been like trying it out like a little bit. And then I was like, I didn't know what kind of format I liked. And then like once I found my groove, I started actually uploading them. And so, yeah, I do my Twitter reaction threads. I mostly do it for live events and like the spectacular and collision. So be sure to check that out at Abigail Freel, and then just my YouTube channel at Abigail Freel for Schmoedown Tea Time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they are great all across the board. I love the YouTube videos. I especially love the Twitter reactions just because there are times where I'm trying to watch the show and then I'm just like, all right, I just need 3 to 4 seconds while they're giving me the rules because I already know the rules to this darn show already.
Yeah.
So it is great just to get those little snippets and get those reactions, because we are in a fantastic age of, if you don't have a gift to explain how you feel, then you don't really know how you feel.
It's kind of a language, honestly.
No, it totally is.
Yeah.
And I think that you are quite efficient in it at this point. So,
Thank you.
we are taking notes and doing everything we can on it. But so plugging aside, we'll give you more time to replug all that stuff. But if you're just tuning in and everything, go like, subscribe, plug, favorite, do whatever, all your favorite things for Abby Freel on all of the platforms that you can find her on. They are absolutely great, and we are so excited to have her on the show to talk about San Diego.
Yes.
Woo! All right, so we have 2 matches. I call it like 1.5 because they go pretty quickly on that first one. So let's go ahead and cover the first match. We have our boy, friend of the show, Kevin the Smasher Smets versus Adam the Haymaker Lack. Thoughts, everybody?
Wow.
Oh boy. Ah, fuck. Jesus, Mary. I mean,
Wait.
You can't. Okay, so I was like saying like right before this that I felt so psychologically speaking, I cannot imagine how Lavick has been feeling. And, especially since Mets, up until recently, he seemed like he was unbeatable. I mean, everyone remembers the polls where everyone was like, Smets, it's going to be Kalinowski, obviously. No trouble whatsoever. And that was quite a surprise when that match happened. So when he was going to go up against Lavick, everyone was like, yeah, it's going to happen. Lavick and Smets, it's like, you can't really compare the two, really. So, but it kind of feel bad, like going into it, that was already, I feel like 99% of the viewers' mentality watching this. I mean, does anyone feel differently? Honestly, yeah. I mean,
Adam was a high qualified jobber. That's what it is, basically. I mean, he was destined to lose the match. He is a very talented one. He's not. At an undercard, you generally have a squash match. Generally speaking, you generally do. Now, Adam is not exactly a jobber and not exactly a person that usually should get squashed. But when you're facing the Goldberg of the Schmoedown,
Yeah.
and a guy, and then you take that into account, plus the fact that he was in All H all day and up all day, and Smash was in the dungeon, like watching, X-Men First Class for the 500th time or whatever. I mean, it was going to go down that way.
He's hating life watching that for the 500th time.
Better than Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Oh my! Well, quick announcement, guys, in the chat. There's a Mike Kalinowski. I can't
Mike Califucco.
say.
No skis.
That means
I think it's goes by Mikey No Belts or Mikey One Belt. Or
Hey, it's-
maybe I can't count the 3 belts. I don't know.
hashtag the 3 belts.
I
Whoa,
wonder what
whoa.
Mike thought of Abby's excellent GIF reactions to his mediocre match against Rachel. I'd be
Oh my
interested to
gosh.
see that.
Shots
Oh.
fired. I do not think it was a mediocre match. Oh my gosh.
That was one of the more emotional matches that I've had. There's probably there's been like 2 or 3 matches total where I've had like a legit emotional reaction. And that the first one was for me was like when Shirels won as a female, and she was like, we are the league, and I was like alone in my house, and sure, I was on my 5th or 6th beer by that time, but I was like, oh my gosh, I worked so hard for this. And it's just like teams is just like such an expansive thing versus like IG is like it's finite. I mean, you have to know every single word, a ridiculous amount of knowledge from these set amount of movies. But that and knowing how hard Mike Kalinowski, I mean, he's kind of up and down, and he's obviously a really talented player, but he really has hit his stride in this past year. So it's kind of ridiculous. And people just, I don't want to say they don't like him, but they definitely like to dislike him.
We like him.
Yeah.
We like him.
We don't like to vote for him. We don't like to be confident in him. So,
Just the sheep.
Yeah. Mike is in.
Here's the thing about Mike. Like Mike, Christian obviously loves wrestling, and there's a thing in wrestling where you have a good guy that you think is going to be a fan favorite, and you're like, this is going to be my guy, and the fans like don't get behind him or don't care, and it kind of like falls by the wayside, and then you make him into a bad guy because all the people who were like booing him for being the good guy that they didn't like. Well, now they're still booing him, but then he's the bad guy, so you want him to boo him, and then they're like, wait a minute, I like this guy, and it's a classic wrestling thing, and Mike is like completely owned that because
okay,
he went from
let's
being...
be honest, though. Abby, back me up when I say this. Billy, Mike was never really a heel. He was never a heel. Ever.
He's not a heel. He tried.
He was
Yeah.
never a heel.
Not a
I
heel.
feel like maybe he is. I feel like definitely this year he's like owning it more, if that makes sense. I feel like he can be a heel.
Well, here's the thing with Mike as far as being a heel. Last year, in all of the vignettes where they would like the behind the scenes shoot things with him and Thad, that was all very heelish stuff, and it built him up as a big heel and a great
really?
heel. Where you lose Mike as being the heel is that I've said this on Twitter before. deep down, his name is Mike Kalaniski. He is the nicest person. And like, so at the end, and he loves this game too much to really be a heel, because part of being a heel is disrespecting the process of what you're in. Right. And Mike will never disrespect.
For example.
So he's more of like a tweener who loves the game but hates.
For example, if I can bet in here, Phil, for example, if it was, say, Andrew Guy, who is probably the best heel in the business, Schmoedown, if it was Andrew Guy versus Kevin Smets, after Kevin Smets said, "Don't tell Peter," Andrew Guy would be like, "You fucking idiot! Don't tell Peter."
Yeah, that's true to think about.
There's no, I mean,
that's heel.
Okay, sure, he's not. There's different levels of heel-ness. I mean, there's people that are more aggressive and very in your face, such as Guy, but there's also people that are heels in much more laid back way. Like a lot of people say that Smets in his own way is a heel. You know, he's not like, he has in his own way, it kind of has a low key personality of a heel, but he's not actually a heel.
Tweeners. They're more tweeners.
Or even when back a while when they tried to make Bibiani a heel, that was the thing.
Oh,
so, like,
man.
when he did the betrayal, I betray you. Yep.
Right.
Remember when that happened?
I think.
And who was his manager? What's his name from ETC? Was his manager?
Oh,
no, not Elliot. The other guy from ETC. Yes.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, here's the big thoughts on the spectrum of heel, I guess, because I've done the spectrum before and it's been vulgar, but I'm not going to write it on the whiteboard right now because I don't want to reach for it. But I will say that in one sense, I think both of us are right in that Mike is a heel in that he does heel things at times. He promotes himself as this villain, but he sees himself as the hero still. He's still somebody at the end of the day who, at the end of the matches, though, does play it very face. I mean, at the end of every match he's had, he has a lot of respect for Rachel, has respect for Smets. And
okay, but let's face it, no villain actually thinks they're a villain. Do you think Hitler thought he was a villain? No, but he was
Whoa! And now you're getting
It's like that kind of
horrible or anything, obviously, but let's face it, no villain actually thinks they're a villain.
Right.
No villain thinks they're a villain. And just like Guy or Roka when he was in his heel days, they never thought they were villains in their own stories, obviously.
I don't know. I think Guy thinks he's a villain and he's okay with it. But
no, he's been betrayed and he is seeking revenge. He is just like the bride in Kill Bill.
In regards to
he is completely just in his pursuits.
All right. Hold on.
What does Abby think?
Let's Abby talk.
Okay, I feel like his, like, when you think about that post-game interview when he turns his back on the league, he has been a heel since then. That was a heel turn. And I'm not the biggest wrestling fan, but that was, like, from then on, he has been a heel. And I felt like corruption, a good person wouldn't mess up the whole team tournament like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's kind of what you were saying, Alex, where he's, like, on just not a high level of heel, but he is, I would say, a heel.
I would interject that he made the heel turn.
You're like the heel next door.
He did
He's like your best friend, the heel.
Yeah.
He just can't stay.
All right, guys. We've got a lot of stuff to cover still. And you know what? If Mike wants to come on here and have his opinion on if he's a heel or not, that's Mike's job. I've already told him in the chat.
God is not a hack, Kalinowski.
All right.
How dare you?
We still got a whole match to talk about kind of really quickly because obviously Mike, who's eagerly awaiting for us to talk about his match, but I'm going to draw it out a little bit more. So Smets, yeah, he just KOs Havlik, right? Havlik.
But he had that emotional moment with Smets' mom, too. Don't forget that, guys.
Yeah, Smets' mom in there. She was great. But, all right, so overall, I mean, Abby, everybody, any specific thoughts kind of going in? We all kind of thought Smets was going to probably win, and then he did win, and there's not the super most to talk about. Am I wrong here? I'll pass it to Abby first before I let you all take over in the chaos as usual.
Yeah, I feel like this match was very representative of just this feeling I've been having for a while that the Intergeekdom League specifically has gone to a very intense level that now old school players, like even a Robert Meyer Burnett, and we saw earlier this year with Hector Navarro, they can't handle it anymore. And you just have to be at such a high level that only a few of these Intergeekdom players are. And you just, like Kevin Smets, Mike Kalinowski, Brandon Hanna, Rachel Cushing, you just have to be on, you just have to have, you can't just know this stuff because you love it and do well in the Intergeekdom and succeed. To contend for a belt, you have to be putting in the work that it requires to be a champion now. And I felt like this match represented that.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I think it shows the widening gap between the overall, like, not a lot of the, I mean, I guess you can kind of tier the players to a certain extent. In singles and teams, those tiers are a lot thinner. But in Intergeekdom, there's a pretty big gap between the tier that is Rachel Cushing, Kalinowski, Smets, Mara, probably even Inman.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about her.
Yeah, like Inman, Brandon Hanna. We haven't seen enough to say Brandon Hanna for sure in that tier yet, but I'm a big fan of Brandon Hanna, so I'll go ahead and throw him in there just as a humble nod. But there's this tier of 5 or 6 players that are very much, if you put them against any other person in the Intergeekdom League, it feels like it's a complete wash. Like, it's not even close. Am I wrong in that?
No.
I think
Honestly, there's probably less than 5 other players that are in IG. Period. Honestly.
Right.
I mean, like in IG period, we don't have that many.
I mean, we have Jared. We have Jared. We have Emily Rose. We have
Jared
Drew.
hasn't played in.
He's getting he's basically getting married though.
Yeah, but hasn't played in almost a year. What's his name? What's her name? The redhead with the glasses.
Rosie?
Oh, Keaton Martin.
He was supposed to be in IG, but she didn't come back. There's no mention of Lavic's girlfriend.
Emily Rose.
She's gonna be up against Hannah here pretty soon. They're going on, but I honestly can't think of anyone else.
Yeah, Zipper kind of in and out, but Zipper even said behind the scenes, or maybe in the episode, I don't remember which, so I'm sorry if I'm calling Zipper out, but Zipper even said preference-wise, he's like, you know, Intergeekdom is just such a tight league right now that the details are just so deep. He's like, I'd rather be a singles player and teams player right now because that's where I can put my focus, especially with loose cannons coming off that crazy one.
Well, nowadays you really can't be a casual champion like how Zipper was, or Burnett was for a while. You know, if you're a champion, you are a devoted champion. You're studying actively all the fucking time. You know, whether you have binders or no cards or Excel spreadsheets or whatever it may be. It's something you're actively thinking about consistently throughout the year, like Kalinowski does, or what Bateman does. It can't just be like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch a movie a few new movies, maybe once or twice a week. No, it's something you have to actively think about. So we're getting this whole new caliber of not only just fans, but a whole new approach to how older players are actually approaching the league now. Like how Kalinowski just like almost, I don't want to say he revamped as a player, but his whole, clearly from the way he used to play in IG and singles before, completely changed in the past year and a half. Study-wise, he like changed something specifically behind the scenes.
For sure.
I'm a more competitive player.
He had to reinvent himself to even kind of come back and be competitive again. Like literally from heel turn on in the storyline's sake, like he brought the heat every single time he was coming into those matches.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a big difference. And I think not only just comfort's sake, but you could tell that he spent that time well. Like it wasn't wasted. He was studying his ass off to get to that level that he is at now.
Well, he's changed the way he studied too, because I know I've talked to a couple people. I have some insider sources, and they said that before, I think it was last year, Mike was just watching movies. Like that's what his study habit was just to watch movies and pump through movies. Clearly now from his Twitter, he's he has binders. He's breaking down the information, organizing the information to get as much out of his study time as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else feel like Mike Kalinowski's the kind of guy that would put fake information on that wrong information on that binder when he took that photo, just in case somebody tried to like steal his information. It was wrong information.
Yeah,
I think
for
that's
sure.
something he would do.
I could see Mike Kalinowski creating a fake binder and leave it around somewhere. Or something.
I'm hoping like Hyben would casually find it.
Right.
Oops, my binder actually got leaked, you guys.
Yeah.
Right. Can we put out a fake PDF binder in the corruption group just to say, no, guys? And then,
No.
right.
Mike just confirmed it.
We do need an ID player in the family, so in the family faction. So if they ever felt threatened, maybe that's what they want to do.
Right. But, all right, so we've been talking about Mike long enough. Let's just get into the meat and potatoes of the show. We got Mike versus Rachel, and what is a awesome match. This is what they're fit.
Cry-worthy match.
One of my favorite matches
Oh, yeah.
ever. Period.
So
One of my
let
favorites.
me start off by just starting out, and let me get this question out of the way really quick because I think we've already been kind of hinting at it so far. So going into the match, who had Mike, who had Rachel? Let me start with Abby first, and I'll go down the list. Abby, who did you have going into the match?
I had Mike going into the match. And it hurt my heart to say that it was Mike because I am a big Rachel fan.
Mhm.
But yeah, Mike.
Okay. Alex?
My heart said Mike, my head said Rachel, just because they have played several matches prior to that. And
Okay.
he hadn't won against her prior though.
Sure. He has that track history, speaks volumes until now. Danny, who'd you have?
Mike all the way. I had him.
Yeah.
I didn't doubt him, but I just felt that up until like his last loss, I saw this kind of person who got knocked down on his ass, and he's just been working and picking up steam ever since. So when a person has that determination, I was like, there's no way that guy's gonna lose. And if he is gonna lose, he's gonna go down as a fighter. So
Paul?
Immediately upon beating Smets, I had Rachel. But every day that got closer and closer, by the time the event happened, Mike was on just too good of a roll. And I thought that Rachel might get in her head in a live event. So I did think that Kalinowski would take it at the end, even though I didn't want to admit it.
Yeah. Belford?
So as Mike's mortal enemy on Twitter, which I've given myself that name, I realized that every time that I voted against Mike, he won. So this time I tried to use like reverse psychology and pick Mike.
Oh, Chris Clark tactics then, huh?
So yeah, it's very logical. It's a lot of logic went into it. I thought I did the math. I picked Mike.
That. Okay. Maybe we should
Mike
try it.
Still won.
So me going into the match, I had Mike going in. Like after him beating Smets, even if a lot of it is just a saying that my reaction right to the Smets match was that, Smets beat himself in that one at the end of the day. I think if it goes overtime, it definitely cranks it to another level. But James, don't you dare interrupt yet. I'm on a roll. You can get it in a second. I see you.
He's pulling my stick here.
Right.
Hello, sheep.
Oh,
How are you doing today?
So anyway, after him beating Smets, I was just like, no, Mike's not losing again until he gets the belt. And then maybe after he gets the belt, I don't know. We'll see. But my wife had Rachel strictly because there was that Twitter poll drama. Not the Twitter poll drama, the Facebook poll drama. But we're not going to get into that one because it got deleted, so I guess we're not supposed to talk about it. James, you've so graciously joined us in this whole ensemble. Go ahead and give us your thoughts.
I just wanted to come in here and provide a point of view for someone who was at the live event,
Mhm.
someone who supports Mike Kalinowski and Mikey Three Belts because that is the future of this league.
All right, mute him.
Mute him.
How do we kick him? Is there a way to kick him from the?
well, I mean,
Yeah, we're doing.
Dylan has full power.
Here, I also
Now
have
this
signatures that I
conversation-
can just raffle off for you guys who want attention. Abby, I'm sorry, this is our first interaction. I'm actually decently nice. Sorry.
Yeah, did you ask her if she was okay with this
Yeah.
slanderous, horrible talk?
No, you're
Abby,
right.
do you mind me being an asshole?
You're right.
Do you mind me being an asshole?
To who?
Just in general.
Just in general? Yeah, that's fine, I guess.
All right, great.
Don't be an asshole to.
Yeah.
So
Wait, okay, it's not so much him being an asshole; it's just him being himself.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty accurate.
that's
And
just
he
him.
just happens to have on a blazer.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Even though it's the middle of summer.
All
The
right.
attack, the
You know what? I love
shade,
wearing blazers.
all
every
thrown
time.
my way because you know from the beginning I have been right.
Daddy James, we're going to give you about 3 minutes before I mute you all together. You
That's
go.
okay. I only intended to be on that long. I just
Okay.
wanted to say congratulations to Kalinowski because he is truly someone who could become the greatest player of all time. He is on that path. Hashtag Mikey
You
Three
just-
Belts.
You just
Okay,
support him because he
okay,
knows your
Matt.
name.
That
James,
too.
I don't appreciate it.
And if you have any questions about the
Come
live
up
show,
here.
I will gladly answer them.
The amount of brown nosing that's going on here is like obnoxious.
You're right. Here,
It is
actually,
very obnoxious.
real quick, James, I'll allow you to continue. I'm going to let the video catch up because I know it's a little bit different. But I want to ask Mike right now, what's my name? If Mike can answer it in the chat within the next minute, then you're good. If I don't see my name roll through there, nobody give him any hints, then James is out and we're back to the organized chaos. Go ahead,
All
James.
right, thanks, Dylan. So what I
Full name.
so
Full name.
I can answer as many questions as y'all want about the actual event, but I wanted to say one thing that got cut from the actual re-airing. You could hear in the crowd after he won the belt before his post interview started. There was this wave over the crowd. New York to everyone just chanting, "You deserve it."
That wasn't everyone. That was just you, James.
It was about 10 or 20 of us, all right? It was about 10% of the overall crowd, so I would say it's a pretty damn good
If
percentage.
you have your mixer
Wait,
key, so you
Billy.
can double your voice 20 times.
Bill, I discovered the reason why James loved this match so much. Because this was Rachel versus Mike Konowski too. Sequel.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
sequel.
It's a sequel.
No! All right, so I'm taking up your time. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that the crowd was very much split directly down the middle. But we all loved the match. We all knew that Mike deserved the win that day. And I wanted to remind everybody that despite the fact that I am, in fact, an asshole and said a lot of mean things, this match and the recent matches have confirmed for me that currently Rachel Cushing is the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, we cannot take away from the fact how fantastic of a player she is. I mean, yes, did Mike deserve this? Abso-fucking-lutely. He's ridiculously knowledgeable and talented. It's bonkers. But we cannot take away from the fact that Rachel, not only is she currently a team part of the Shire Wolves that are a team holder, they're a belt holder, but also, she maintained both belts for as long as she did. It's ridiculous. And, and the fact that she was playing for a while for all three leagues simultaneously, and she did very well in all three leagues. That's almost unheard of. So nowadays you really have to focus on one, maybe two max, but it's just, she's so amazingly talented that she held on to it as long as she did. And she defended it as well.
Defended it while also holding the team belt and still staying as sharp enough to be a champion in two different divisions that are so drastically different.
Absolutely.
And not to mention, she's also really cool because she actually signed my little poster right here, courtesy of Brandon Hanna, right where her little target was.
Mm-hmm.
So, she knew she stood in Mike's path, and that's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess.
All right, so.
All right, cool, James. Cool story.
Bye, James. It's been fun.
Bye.
Get out of
Bye,
here.
Felicia.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
Please.
Just one more note. I'm glad we got more of Burnett as commissioner this week.
You're not.
And hashtag Mikey 3 Belts. Fuck you guys.
Except for Abby.
I found out I can actually eject him
Wow.
from here, and I just.
There you go.
Anyway, Abby, I swear, we usually only have about most of this chaos. So I apologize for Papa
No,
Jake.
this is really fun. I'm enjoying it.
So without further ado,
Like that you're in duress.
right, I know. Let's break down the match and just see how it went round for round, because this is one of the few matches where I'm like, I want to break this down round for round because of how close and just swingy it was. So round one, at the end of the round, we had Rachel up at 9 with Mike at 7. All right, so Mike's down 2 going in. Does that feel about right to everybody, or did we expect it to be dead even? 2 perfect
I
games?
thought it was going to be even, legit. I thought it was going to be even up until the very last point, which it was. But that starting off with on that round made me very nervous.
Yeah. Abby, what about you?
Yeah, I honestly was thinking that it was going to be like 2 perfect rounds, like going into the match. I thought it was just going to be who misses first, and then that would be the determination of the game. But as you said, it went back and forth. But
Right. Yeah, so it stays super close in that first one. Nobody getting any perfects, but it is that live event feel. I think coming into San Diego and all of that going on, that maybe probably played part of it. But there were also some pretty tricky questions in round one. Round two, and
that's why I thought maybe Rachel would stumble in round one because it's the live event and maybe like her nerves get to her early, but she definitely came out and knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
you know,
Well, that's why I kind of thought it would happen that
Live
way.
before, so you can't take that away from her.
And
Right.
also, I think the round
Yeah.
one.
Not by herself
Yeah.
and not in like a
She's not by
fourth.
herself, and it has been a while for sure.
mhm.
And she's not very active on social media. I mean, versus a lot of other
And she-
competitors nowadays.
She said that like it's not just like that she'd been in a live event before, but on Twitter she'd been she's been going through a move, like, so there's other stresses already, and then it's this thing already gives her more stress, and it just kind of builds and builds and builds. I think that's why I think at the LA live event before, like, she didn't have as much of a issue with the live event.
Right.
Well, the other
Yeah,
one.
but also it wasn't just her; it was her and Clark as a team. So.
and it wasn't a
Together.
number. It wasn't a championship. Wasn't it a number one contenders match?
Yeah.
It was if
Yeah.
the Team
The
Action
champion
won,
going in, so there's already so much pressure.
Mhm.
yeah. If Team Action won, they got a title shot. If the Shire Wolves won, they got a number one contenders match.
Right. And I do think that I'm beginning to think that it's actually just a lie. Like, I do think there's a certain amount of anxiety built to live events, like that's built in.
Of course.
But at this point, Rachel's record speaks 3-1 in live events,
Yeah.
or 2-1. She's
2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. So most of the time she's winning or defending a championship.
True. There's
And
there's a
I
lot
just
of
wanna
other
just-
factors as well. I mean, in terms of confidence, obviously. Like Billy, you were saying earlier. Rachel, she has a lot of stuff going on. In her personal life. But also, she's not. I think she's like a TV film editor or something. Or something along those lines.
She's a TV editor. She edits television shows.
She's a editor, just like Smets, and she's not. In theory, she shouldn't be used to the camera or used to the spotlight. Versus Mike, he has a history. He's an actor, and it clearly shows. I mean, my husband even was walking by, and he's like, "That guy is an actor, clearly."
I want to
Doing.
take a quick second that I think Danny was trying to plug soon. We have Late to the Party joining us in the chat. Shout out
What? We have we've got Mike. We have Late to the Party. What?
Yeah. Abby, you have brought
Thank you, Abby.
celebrities coming into the
Yeah.
chat today.
Oh my
Round of
gosh,
applause for Abby, an all-star.
Oh my god.
Like Shrek. I'm just gonna call it All Star.
Yeah. All right. We're not going to play the all-star with that one, and I'm not going to drop too many more As much as I like Mike and promote him, I don't want to build his ego up because we have the biggest egos on the show, and we're not allowing anybody, even Mike's, to be bigger.
We're
Wait,
supposed to be
can I-
assholes.
Can I backtrack a little bit?
Sure, go ahead, Danny. What's been going on in chat for a pretty quick break?
No, I just want to talk about like the Rachel's intro, the Lord of the Rings remix. by
Oh, yeah.
David Bowie. I just want to see how tight and dope that song is because I am the biggest Lord of the Rings fan.
Mhm.
That
So
was awesome.
hearing that, I was just like,
It's,
I was like for a
David
second,
Bowie?
I was like, yes, I need that.
Mhm.
And for a little bit, when Mike disrespected poor Smets hoodie, there was a little bit of my heart that ripped a little bit. I was like, Mike, how could you do this to me?
How's it
How
go
could
again?
you?
How's it go again?
How could you do this to me?
How did you do this?
You're tearing me apart.
Also to cut in there, the let's not forget the Nerd Chronic promo. That
Oh my
was
oh,
Oh, shout out to very frequently views our episodes, Nerd Chronic. Holy hell, was that promo? All of his promos are so good. Like, I can't handle how good of his promos are at this
That was so bonkers good. That had no right to be as epic as it was.
point.
I love watching promos for Schmoedown for fun, and that was like some epic shit right there.
I was
Yeah.
almost getting emotional, although I think it might have been indigestion, but
Yeah. That's those old man problems. But speaking of old man problems, actually, it's nothing to do with old man problems. Let's get back into the round analysis because we're going into – so at the end of round 2 on the wheel round, Mike gets Middle Earth. And honestly, around that time, I'm like, it's going to be a wrap. Like if he misses one and Rachel steals, which did happen, I was like, it's going to be game over.
The questions they have on LOTR on Middle Earth now.
Oh, they're ridiculous. They are.
Yeah, I've seen the Hobbit trilogy like 3 or 4 times now. I've seen LOTR. I watch it like twice a year over Christmas and one other time. It's like a holiday movie. My family, the pulls they took from that trilogy is ridiculous. It's unheard of. And I'm literally sitting here, Ring King Cresteco, with my husband, and he's seen it a bazillion times, and he's like, what the fuck are these questions?
I mean, obviously, I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I got the one true cup to rule them all.
I'll take your word on it. It's a little blurry, Danny. But so yeah, the questions on Middle Earth in general are just getting wacky. And at the end of round 2, we have an 18-15 score, 15 for Rachel, 15 for this one. Now the betting round, which I've always said is the most interesting round out of the whole thing. I think speed round probably the most, but betting. Here's where it goes. 18-15, they both bet 3. Now, Mike betting 3, I think his the Corruption fan group had been even promoting, say, push 3, never even back down on that, go all in. Doesn't matter. Rachel putting 3 was baffling to me. I did not expect at all for her to be as rambunctious to go that hard in. And then we see such a drastic swing where Mike takes the lead and he never lets it go. But for right here in this moment in that match, I can't get all of your direct reactions to it right away. But what was everybody's thoughts? Starting with Abby, because I see you all get Nancy in there. Abby on the swing.
Yeah, just kind of what you were saying. It was surprising to see Rachel just be so intense with the betting round. And wasn't the score, wasn't it exactly flipped? Like it was 15-18 Rachel, and then at the end it was 18
flipped.
Yeah.
18-15 Mike.
Flipped.
Yeah. No, it was like the game-changing round for this match, I would say.
And you can hear the entire auditorium go quiet. Like everyone held their breath.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how it was live. I kind of want to. I want to ask James how it was for everyone.
No, don't someone.
Don't do it. Don't even say his name.
No, sorry. I mean, Jamotmosky. Who?
So, yeah, 18-15 becomes 15-18. Mike takes the lead. At that point, do we think that he has it, or are you guys still no, he could still lose on this one?
I still thought it could go to sudden death. I was like, there's still a chance, I think. If anyone could pull this off. And I think I was watching one of Abby's videos, her recaps, and she was talking about it was compared to a baseball game. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could get that behind that analogy. It did feel like where it was just it was just evenly a game of mistakes, One person just make one mistake and then it got off of them. So.
Yeah, and I think the betting, or not the betting round, the speed round, that can go either way as well as the betting round. So even though Mike did have the lead, I was like, this betting round Rachel could have a 4-point lead beating him after.
Look at Oyama. Oyama was down after the betting round against Dan, and then speed round comes back, gets in range and wins. So
And we can't. Let's not deny that Rachel's really good at the speed round too.
You have to whip out that correct answer in 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That is stupid fast.
I think that
sometimes you have to figure it out before the question's over.
Exactly.
Right.
But you've heard Christian and Mark can say if sometimes you can answer. You think you have the right question in your head because it's going the same formulas, maybe as you've written down or as you've thought about in the past. But maybe you're not thinking about that equalizer, remember, question with Denzel Washington. Remember? Recently, he didn't listen to the whole question. I think it was Andreyko. But he doesn't listen to the whole question. As a result, they lost 3 points or whatever it was. So, especially when it comes to something like this, I mean, it's.
So my previous statement earlier of saying that I don't think that Rachel, I think Rachel has a certain amount of anxiety in live events, but I think that's a natural amount of anxiety. I think it finally hits in on the betting round, though. Or not the betting round, the speed round. Because whenever she buzzed in, got that question, and then missed it, like, you could see that there was that very physical reaction, like, I know it, and then it just didn't, like, hit from the brain to the mouth.
It didn't verbalize, yeah.
Right, and I think from that point forward, I think that she loses there in that moment. It's not even whenever she gets to the 5-pointer and she gets all the rest of the questions right. I think in that moment, she loses to herself. And there's a very distinct moment that we can kind of see in these high-tier intergeekdom matches that makes me love it so much, because you can see these exact moments when the player realizes they lose even before the match even ends. And it's very similar to Smets, and whenever they play it back to him and say, the don't tell Peter part, I'm still cringing because it's still too soon for me. They say that, and he like realizes it. He's like, it doesn't even matter what question Mike gets, because he's like, no, I lost because I beat me. And that's the such extreme part that I love about intergeekdom. And it's just so you can't replicate it anyplace else. I love where the leagues are in general right now, because intergeekdom is just this tight-knit group of like 4 or 5. And I think that it's hard for some people because they're like, well, there's only 4 or 5 players that are really playing, and then there's other players who are just getting beat by them time and time again. And we're slowly pulling that back up.
But the emotions are so high in the interleague matches right now compared to the regular matches have emotions too, but comparatively, I mean, if you watch this match from what I'm going back a little bit, I didn't get to mention my round 1. I thought Rachel was going to have round 1, and I was right. But when I see Mike started to get like emotional early on, like every time like he got a little bit behind, you could see him like not like panic, but like he was like getting a little more. Can't get too far behind, and that's when I thought he might lose it. It was when the betting round happened. Actually, especially round 2, when like the Lord of the Rings stuff happened. I thought that was a case that if Mikey was going to go down, it was going to be because of his emotions. But then when the betting round happened, and this is why I want to say, because I mentioned I saw some people in the chat, I think what happened with that, it was a case of momentum in terms of the Lord of the Rings thing happened. She got the steal, and she smelled blood in the water. Mikey was emotional. And if she got a 3 on that, and if she bet, so she goes, if I bet 3, he's at best 3 points behind me still. Going into the speed round with a 3-point lead, that would be her angle to really put the pedal to the metal. Now, the problem is that if the opposite happened, which it did, that's where the beatdown at that point happened, because then Mikey just all of a sudden gained this emotional, like it was like a flip of a switch. All of a sudden, Mikey went from to, oh yeah, it's on, and that's where Rachel's anxiety started to come in at that point. At that point, it was an impressive run, and I gotta say, I'm as much of a Twitter, Facebook enemy of Mike Kalinowski as Belford, if not more sometimes. But
whoa, not more.
We'll fight for each other. We'll fight each other.
Mortal enemy.
No.
I for it in the Twitter.
I'm fighting Belford.
Yeah.
I have a beef.
That's true.
I have a big beef flame broiled, ready to grill.
It's a gift war. It's coming
in.
All right.
But I will just to finish my thought. I want to say that I want to give even though I'm his Twitter enemy too, I want to give Mike a lot of credit, because he could have lost it at any time, but he held it together, and that's why he got the win. And it was definitely deserved. I'm not going to ever say it again, because my reputation is going to be lost. But he definitely deserved it, and yeah.
Don't worry.
Guys, we actually have another celebrity here. We have Albert here in the chat too. You have Albert here too. What up, Albert?
Albert. What up, Albert?
Oh yeah, Albert in the house. Sorry, I shouted him out in the chat already, but I'm gonna go into that. Albert, we love you here. We'll be doing shout outs all night, and I'm trying to get Abby's opinion on everything. It's just chaos already. But all right, so we'll kind of wrap up the round analysis. So 15-21 at the end of the betting, the end of the speed round. Mike's ahead by 6 points, pretty comfortable lead. And that's something that we'll talk more about probably later on a different time if we ever have Mike on the show where he's just at pace. But it goes in. Every point matters so much to that, because the match round, so Rachel goes through all of her questions. Mike hits the 2 and a 3, I think, and then ends up being a 25-26 Mike new champion. So reigning in and kind of going into the new possibly Mikey 3 belts # reality of it all. I want to sit here and say, firstly, here's one of my biggest gripes with Mike as a heel is that at the end of the match we'll sit here and see this gushing emotion of respect for the players, and it's not like Rachel doesn't deserve it. She definitely does. And I get it from that live perspective, and it's mixed. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't like it for him as a heel, but I love it for him as a player. I think this is where I really show my liking for Kalinowski, is because it's just, you see how much he cares about it and how much like that mattered, and he's just like, he's tearing up and stuff like that, and kayfabe doesn't even matter. He just wants to show that respect for Rachel, which is such an excellent match. Abby, what are your thoughts on just that wrap up, that emotional moment? Is it fair, or should he have held kayfabe and try to be more of a villain? What do you think on it?
No, I definitely agree with you. I feel like it adds so much more to like why we all love the Schmoedown when you see moments like that and you see players get emotional and be grateful that they won. And I mean, even if you think to like that match when Jeff Snyder just like gave up, it felt like, and it just wasn't, it felt almost disrespectful as like a viewer to watch. And so it's just so nice to see like that they truly care, and they care so much that they cry when they win or they get emotional. And it was just like I'm sad for Rachel, but this like his post-game interview was just so like cute, and just like it was just made me happy as a fan.
Everybody else have feel good moments, or were some of the other hosts here just like, damn it, Rachel lost?
I mean, just the whole entire feel of it was just like, it was just watching just two heavyweights just go back and forth, and it was just a beautiful way to have a championship match.
Let's call it what it is, guys. It was like watching a Rocky movie. We're on the entire time. I mean,
and he had his Adrian moment.
Competitors.
Even had his Adrian moment
at the end of the match.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. I was like, I posted on Twitter. It was like a response to someone else. But again, like I was saying earlier, but I watched it live with my husband, and my husband's not a huge Schmoedown fan. He's watched it casually because he knows I'm interested, and he likes I do, especially because he plays like Warhammer and D&D, and he's like into geeky shit. So, this is totally not geeky, right? But when him and I were watching this together live, he was just amazed by the sheer passion and knowledge by especially Kalinowski. When he watched this and he watched the Smets Kalinowski match, and he's like, oh fuck. And he saw like the emotional reaction to Mets, and then he watched the emotional reaction to Kalinowski, and he's like, oh shit, like these guys clearly love this, like something they are like genuinely love to be a part of, and there's like so much like passion behind it, goes into it behind the scenes, obviously. And watching this again, and we were kind of like, for fun playing along, and Lucas thinking that he could get a lot of these right. And it was just rough. It was like, I was like, when he's like, the moment he started playing, said, and he's like, the category is DC. I literally started bawling my eyes out. I was like, oh God, literally, it's happening. It's happening. It was rough. It was so rough. And I started getting like tissues everywhere. I got snot all over my hoodie. It was not cute, guys. But it's like, even if you don't like Schmoedown, or if you don't like WWE or that kind of thing, just watching it as a non-fan, it's something to behold. So.
Right. It's something special when you get to see those genuine moments where it's like, sure, I think some people can say it's just a trivia show. If it was just that, we wouldn't be up here at like 11, 12 later that night talking about it in a room full of people with having a chat room over to decide with even some of the competitors. Like, this matters. This matters to us. This matters to them. And I think just being in that company, to sit here and see how much it matters to somebody else as well. Because I think all of us are safe, like, to say that this means so much to us. We put so much time and effort into it, and we're not even in the show. Like, we're around the show.
Alfred almost was, I think.
Whoa. Abby was mentioned in the show. Abby was
actually very much in the show. Abby, how are you feeling after that shout out again?
It was crazy. I was telling you guys earlier, like I usually have the tab open of the match, and then I have a tab open of Twitter, and I just go back and forth, and I was kind of actually half listening because I was like working on the thread, and then I just heard Abby Freel, and I was like, is that like Ellis just said my name? So that was just a crazy moment for me, but that was like, regardless of that, it was still just a really good match, and I was honored that I got a shout out.
Abby, which was a better moment for you? Seeing Mike's reaction to winning the belt or you getting a shout out in the match?
That's not fair.
Yeah, no.
Very fair
maybe
question.
Mike, I'll say that.
Okay.
I like
I'll say
Abby getting shouted out more than Mike's moment. Yes.
No.
I'm with Belford on this. I think as a fan, as a podcaster, as somebody, as all of us who bust our asses to sit here and just even have commentary on it, to sit there and get a shout out right in the middle of the show is so sweet. I would be screaming at home. My wife would think that I died or I was having a heart attack if my reaction was at home. So I 100% serious.
You know,
There was
when that does
go
happen,
back
I
and
will.
forth, be like,
Yeah.
was that real?
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
It's gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
It's inevitable, you guys. We're gonna get a call out here pretty soon. Abby Freel, it was first late to the party, then Abby Freel, and then it's gonna be us. Okay, it's inevitable.
Yeah, a call to action.
We're gonna pull a Thanos. We are inevitable.
yeah.
We're not gonna actually die though.
I just want to point out that Abby, everybody in the chat literally was saying, "Nah, like own it. It's your moment. You should have."
Yep.
Even Mike on
No,
that.
oh my god.
Mike says that he
Oh
loves
my god, that's so sweet of him.
just talking about Abby again, maybe even Alex a little bit, because all right, well, if we got some eyes right now and we're kind of off the match right now, we're going to use this moment to plug Schmoedown Nashville, the most controversial hashtag in all of social media. So, as a matter of fact, and it's not
Nerd
just
Chronic is in the chat, by the way.
Wow.
Chronic, shout out, we love you. Your promos are so dope. You know what?
Yes.
Chronic, while I have your attention for just like 5 seconds, contact us about trying to make a promo for Schmoedown Nashville or like 50 promos. What are you for anything? But oh my god, if you made for that, they can't ignore us. But all jokes aside on the Schmoedown Nashville thing, it's not a joke. We love it. That's actually what me and Abby met. Me and Abby met in the chat. A lot of the big reason why we're here in the first place is because I plugged Schmoedown Nashville, and Abby is a supporter. Abby, just talk about it for a second. Firstly, why do you think it's a practical reason that we should be going to Nashville?
Well, okay. Nashville is in the heart of the South. It has a big city and surrounding areas. And there's so many great venues that are used because it's a big art town, and there would be so many opportunities for the Schmoedown to get into any of them. And just people would literally drive from all over, I feel like. People have said they would,
Mm-hmm.
And so,
what are
sorry, I feel like I'm not playing it very well.
There's I feel like it's very central, not only to the South, but I mean, there's within a 4-5 hour drive. I mean, there's a lot of cities. I mean, there's Kansas City, in my case, St. Louis. There's Louisville. I feel like I'm drawing a blank here on other ones, but
Indianapolis, Atlanta, all of the central hubs. I'll go ahead and take over real quick, guys, because this is humble brag. Me and Melissa started this hashtag, and I'm not letting it die until I am sitting in a live event in Nashville, which is admittedly an hour away from here. But again, there is all of you guys mentioned me on Twitter, saying put names to faces. All right, Mike, we'll message you later, buddy. I'm on a rant right now. So, Schmoedown Nashville. Here's my big thing, is that exactly to all your points. There are so many central cities in the Midwest that are just crying for live events. Literally, you could put it in St. Louis. You could put it into a bunch of places in the middle of the states, Midwesterners, Southerners, and we'll kind of give Florida. Florida has Orlando, and that's what people in the North are going to sit here and say. Florida is its own thing. Florida isn't even the South. Florida is Florida. So let me discredit that for a second. And it's also a coastal city, which means it's different. There is a chunk in the United States in the middle that it's nothing. If you're not on the coast, you're screwed. And I think we're just dying. I'd be amazed to see the people who would travel from just the middle, 8, 10, 12 hours, just to even get to Nashville, just because it's somewhere remotely close to them. And whatever, Nashville's a pretty sweet city too. I like it. It's just good, and it's just good enough. I've been there enough where I'm not gonna gush over it. But location-wise, it makes sense. There's a bunch of fans dying to do it. We have a hashtag that is going to be trending here soon, I think. I don't know. If we keep it up, we might. In which case, I'm just going to scream like I got shouted out in the San Diego one, plug to Abby. So, yeah, listen, there's all of these good reasons, too. And I'm not saying that we won't plug and help Schmoedown. I just saw Minneapolis pop up in the chat, or St. Louis, or all these other things.
Canada.
Yo,
Go.
All right, fine. We won't.
What up?
All right, maybe we will. So we'll plug it after we get Nashville, guys. Trust me, I am with you on this. We are an army. We will only get this done together. But first comes first. Schmoedown Nashville. You heard it here first, everybody.
Schmoedown Nashville 2020.
Yeah.
Gonna happen.
Totally okay with that. I would love that. I would love St. Louis even more because I live here, but still, Nashville is fantastic.
Who on this podcast would be at Schmoedown Nashville? Can I get a what?
I will drive. I don't drive anywhere, but I will drive from New Jersey to there.
From New Jersey. Paul, would you come to Schmoedown Nashville?
I will give it my best.
Paul, that's a yes. He will be there live, in person. You heard it here first. Belford, give him that. Tell him that you'll be there.
In Tennessee?
Belford will be there. Bet your asses on it, guys.
I thought you were like the permanent fan, live action, like live fan. Are you not going trader here?
All right, I'll go to Schmoedown Nashville. Yeah, y'all. Woo!
Like Houston's way more southern than Nashville, but
I don't think anyone in Nashville talks like that, but okay.
no, literally nobody. We have Miley Cyrus here. She doesn't talk southern at all, so we're good, guys.
Well, her godmother is Dolly Parton, so
Dolly Parton.
Honorary.
Right, yeah. Miley Cyrus will be at Schmoedown Nashville, guys.
She's gonna be
The
coming.
problem with Schmoedown Nashville is you're
She'll
talking
be
about Miley
party. She'll
Cyrus.
be like the warm up.
Right.
Yeah, it's just gonna be the best of both worlds.
Is somebody going to hit her with a chair?
Can we get? Oh my gosh, how amazing would it be to have a music trivia showdown, like warm up match with just like Miley Cyrus versus Dolly Parton?
Get out of my brain, Dylan. I don't appreciate this.
Anyway, as much as I would love to talk more about Schmoedown Nashville and kind of go plugging it more because it needs more attention and it needs to quit being ignored. Harloff, I don't ever see it in the chats. Corey, not. I see you. I know you don't watch our videos probably, but I see you, buddy. It wasn't listed in your city things, and Nashville, Schmoedown Nashville showed up in the comments. I'll leave it at that. But
I got to cut in here. Alex, there's questions in the chat, Alex. Where's Action Cat?
Oh, wait, let me see if I can find one of them. 1 second.
One of them? There's more than one? Woo! All my life is lies. So I have a question for Abby. Like, when you do your thread for the react.
Oh, and we just lost him.
Belford, your audio cut out. I don't know if you're.
Yeah, can you repeat that?
Yeah. Can we? No, not hearing anything.
All right, I think what he was trying to talk about the Schmoedown thread, but I guess what we could talk about is about Mara's turn, because we didn't talk about that.
Oh yeah, that was actually Mara coming out at the end. That was actually really unexpected.
With one of them.
Oh my god, so cute.
And let's just say James, he did call that to us.
Action
No.
Cat.
James Cole, you're right. All right, but we're not going to give him more time to shine.
He's gonna go back. Oh yeah.
Hello?
Never mind. He's gonna log back on.
Nothing.
He'll log right back on. I'll have to eject him again. All right, James, here's your one moment. You were right, buddy. Mara's back. We salute you. That's it. That's all we're doing. So anyway.
Too much.
Yeah, Abby.
All right.
Mara coming in.
In.
How thoughts? Totally dig it. Totally don't dig it. What's up?
I dig it. I always felt like she left, or her last interview was just on weird terms, and it just was confusing, and it was almost awkward and uncomfortable just because she wasn't coming back, and then like that's how it was just a weird match, and it was just weird. But this entrance was the most Mara Canopic way to come back to the Schmoedown.
Right? Oh my gosh, yes, it was.
Yeah, like there is no other way that she wouldn't come in doing like a big 5 horsemen reveal She would just come in and be like, "Hey, let's do a match, I guess." Like in her like cute little awkward way. Like it was so on brand for her, you know.
It makes me a little, I don't want to say nervous, but I mean, like, because she left under unfortunate circumstances, so they weren't able to, like, flesh out the story, essentially, and they're leaving as well, obviously. So I'm hoping that son of a bitch.
No, hold on. Let me mute.
Damn it.
Let me mute
Get
James.
out of here.
Okay.
Summon.
Okay.
Oh God.
Get out of here. No. No.
No, he's just gonna sit there smug. He's just gonna sit. All right.
Listeners, I want you to take this in. I was right. That's all I wanted to say. Just like, Mari's back.
Bye.
That's great.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, James. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
Anyway, we were all saying before James inevitably came back in.
You rudely interrupted us.
We were all saying how much of a putz James is. That's what we were saying. Right? I'm pretty confident that's what we were saying. We were all agreeing how much of a putz he is.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Abby,
I forgot like half our conversation.
on a scale of 1 to putz, where's James, our co-host of the show?
And being completely honest.
Abby, if you need a GIF for a putz, I can get you one. I got you.
Okay.
What's even a putz look like? I'm imagining like a putter in like
Have
mini.
you seen
Well,
James?
it's not a.
Have you seen James? James is a putz. That's what it looks like.
That's what it looks like.
Action putts. That's what he is.
Action putts.
So anyway, all right, let's.
What was Billy's question for Abby? Let's go back to that.
Oh yeah. So when you're doing your reaction thread, do you have like your go-to GIFs that you like have ready, or is it all just like you get a feeling, you Google that feeling, or like you search that feeling and then you search your feelings, and like whatever pops up you like and you like the best you put in?
I usually just do I usually just look up like shocked or like confused or like weird, like just the feeling, the reaction almost, and then I choose from there based on what.
Yeah. Which one's your favorite? Your favorite one for Schmoedown
My
or
favorite GIF
or whatever. Mm-hmm.
The Office always has a lot to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Also, like Real Housewives always has some iconic ones that relate to what I'm trying to do. You know,
There's a little call out to Smets there as an editor on that show.
Yeah,
He's an editor on for that show, right?
Yeah.
Real Housewives of Dallas, I think, is what he's in.
Yeah.
On.
Mm-hmm.
He's my best friend, so I'll tell you. Yes, Real Housewives of Dallas. That's what my best friend does. Yes.
What are everyone else's favorite GIFs? Yes, whatever.
Mine is always going to be Michael Jackson eating popcorn in a theater. Like that one, whenever drama is happening, it's just like that one kills me. That is me every time I'm watching this episode or like just seeing Schmoedown stuff or anything. That one is me every time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
Andy, what do I do?
Go ahead.
Me?
Paul?
Yeah.
I've been really
Blinking.
partial to the. All right, Danny, go.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a Schmoedown GIF, it's always going to be the Wild Berries GIF of Makuga and Jessica drinking the beer chug.
God.
Other than that, probably Blinking Guy is a good one. Elmo in Hell was a good one when chaos happens.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift doing her goofy dance, I usually pick, or some kind of Buddy Daily dancing.
What about you, Paul?
I have two. My Schmoedown one is the Collision 2 Andrew Guy, the one. That's my favorite. But as far as the regular world one, I've been partial recently to the James Franco looking over his shoulder, winking at you one.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That one's mine.
Yeah.
I
Belford.
actually sent that one to my mom.
Nice.
I know. I sent the one with like, I said that once to my mom a handful of times. It's okay because she watches like Schmoedown stuff with me sometimes, and she gets it, and she's like, "That guy is so nice," and I'm like, and mom sends me one right back of that one. That's our relationship in a nutshell.
So really quickly as we go back and forth on this, I'm not wrapping up yet because we have too much energy, guys. This is going an hour and a half. I'm already decided on at this point, which means we have 15 minutes. Not the whole lot, but just enough. So we have Mara coming back into the scene again. We'll talk a little bit. We'll wrap up on the Schmoedown talk, and then we'll just talk to Abby about all the great pop culture talk and everything. But Mara comes in and, kind of just puts out a challenge, a lightly covered challenge to say, hey, should we play? Mike's like, I'll think about it. He also shouts out Inman saying, come back if you're going to sit here. We'll play a match any day of the week. Let's go. 2 questions to the group. I'll start with Abby. 1, do we think that Mike's scared whenever Mara came on back? Do you think that he's like, nah, I'm not going to leap into that match right away because they have a lot back and forth record? And 2, do you think that we'll see Inman again before Spectacular or even after Spectacular?
Okay, I definitely feel like Mike is just on a roll right now, and even comparing him to the player he was when he played Mara, he's so much stronger, and he was so good then, and now he's just 100% better, and he's just killing it in all 3 divisions that he's in. So I feel like he just has the confidence because of his current record to just keep this momentum going, and that if he can beat Rachel, like he can beat anyone at this point,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fun fact, did you know Inman was actually going to come back this year? Like last minute got a big, but they were going to say behind the scenes, they were going to do like a big reveal up in Chicago. But he got a job.
Yeah.
He got a really big contract offer for like 2 years. And so he was like, actually, I have to be working a lot, so never mind. So they had to like drop the whole potential storyline. Sorry, off topic though.
Yeah. Do you guys think that Inman and Mara are still the same? Like, I definitely think Mara is just going to be one of those players who's just consecutively like she could take a break, come on back, and still just be a slayer. Mm-hmm. But do you think that her and Mike even match up now, or has she been out of the game too long?
I think Mara could still hang. I think she's the kind of girl. She's like she said, she goes to Target, and then she gets bored, and then she's like, "Oh, I just came from Target, IKEA. I just want to challenge Mikey 3 belts to a match." So,
I agree. I think Mara could probably still hang. I don't think that Inman can. I won't lie. Like, I think Inman's solid, but he didn't play for a long time before his match with Mara, loses to Mara, and then we haven't seen him since. And I think that he's been out of the game for a minute. He's been busy working, and I think that he's still probably a great player, but I think he maybe dropped down a tier since then. So if we do see Inman come back and possibly like a big like fatal 4-way with like Inman, Smets, Mara, Rachel, maybe even Brandon Hanna for a 5-way for like a big title match or something, or a number 1 contendership match, I think he gets knocked out pretty quick. I don't think he like straight up gets KO'd, but I think of those 5, even with Brandon Hanna, and I know I'm boosting Hanna way up higher than I should from just 1 match, like I just don't think he's in. I think he's the 5th best player in that group of 5.
Also, he's only played 1 match, so we can't give him.
Right.
We can't really count that against him or for him at this time. I mean, we can't really count him out because we've seen so little of him so far. Clearly, obviously, though, he has immense potential. It's just a matter of time to see what we get.
Right. Is that a hot take? Like, is Inman just not like being the weakest of the champions right now? Like, is that hot? I don't know. Abby?
You mean weakest of the overall champions?
Like, not like overall, because Navarro and like, Rob Myers would probably be at the bottom of that. But like, out of the 5 listed, so everybody besides Mike. So we got Rachel, and I know Smets isn't a champion or whatever, but in like what I would consider like the top tier inner geekdom. Who is he just the weakest right now? I mean, is that am I
hard to judge?
Am I high on
it's a little bit hard. I
he
want
writing questions now though too? So maybe he's keeping up more than we think he is.
Maybe.
I mean,
I
he's
heard
got.
actually writing questions.
He said during an interview that he actually said it with an interview with O'Reilly during like the O'Reilly roundtable when they were talking about it, that when it came, he's been watching matches. He's been kind of keeping up with IG matches, during this whole process, and he can't keep up. Honestly, and he said flat out, and he was in O'Reilly asked him who would you go for, and he's like, honestly, I think Mike. He said Mike was going to win against Mets, but he thought Rachel was going to take the belt.
Mm.
But I mean that's what he said during the interview. I'm sure it's still like over there, but he mentioned like, oh, to be honest, I haven't been studying or anything, but all these new questions, they're questions that he can't even begin to dive into, that he doesn't know remotely well anymore. So I don't think if he were to come back, I don't think he would come back for a bit.
Right. And I don't think he comes back with as much heat, but this just starting to wrap up on this stuff. I know that I'm sure we probably may or may not have more questions with Abby, and obviously we want to maximize the time before we start to wrap up, because I'm sure some or all of us do want to go to bed at some point. I'm not convinced that Paul or Belfort actually sleep, but Abby, I don't want to hold you here past bedtime, and I don't want to hold me past bedtime because some of us have to work. So
there was one question in the chat for Abby. I believe it was Danny Joy at one point asked what her favorite slice on the wheel is.
Oh, good question.
Ooh, that's a good question. I would probably say I'm a big Disney fan, so I know you guys just had your Disney match on here. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet,
Girl.
so I know.
Excellently, Abby. That's all you need to know.
You did? Okay.
My commentary was the best out of every competitor. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Yeah. No. So I'm a big Disney and animation fan.
The hosts of the episode are especially spectacular. So just saying.
Excellent.
Danny put it out there for questions in the chat, so we'll kind of keep up with the chat as it goes along. But guys, I'm trying to think of other questions that would be good. I know I had like 5 and I've forgotten them. So guys,
I know Alex was mentioning like a 20 question or something.
Well, I just a handful of fun. Which ones? Like if you were a competitor, which faction would you love to join hypothetically? Like just for fun. Just for fun, absolutely. Like right now.
I would love to start a faction like with the Wildberries and just like be just like their like protege, if that makes sense. So
an intern to the Wildberries?
Yeah.
Drink.
Brandon Hannah of the Action Guys, but like for the Wildberries.
You don't want to be like Brandon Hannah ever. Don't ever be like Brandon Hannah.
Don't do that, Belford. Brandon Hannah.
Speaking of Hannah, Abby, are you Team Bateman or Team Guy?
Oh boy.
That's the question.
Here's the real tea is that I am Team Bateman.
All right, cut this interview right now.
Cut it. No.
All right.
Okay.
Let her explain herself.
Get her out of here. No.
Oh my god. I'll go. I'll just
let her speak. She's allowed to have her opinion.
No, she's not.
Okay. Let's hear this.
I'll jump through the screen.
What? Hold on. Before we get into more questions,
I have so many.
Why Bateman? Right now. 20 words or less of why you chose the wrong team, Abby.
Okay. Maybe not 20 words, but I feel like Ben just deserved a chance to see that title shot through with Riley, and that guy didn't give him a chance to do that, and he was mad at him for kind of no reason. So.
Okay. All right. That's it. We're not going to get into any more on that because we will.
That's fine. You're wrong. You can be wrong. It's cool.
All right.
You're wrong.
It's okay.
A lot of my friends are wrong. It's fine.
You don't have to invite me back on as a guest again. I'll just.
We'll disagree. We're gonna have you on as many times as I can try to get you back on the show, and that's because here's the thing. Here's the truth of the call to action group is that sometimes we can sound like an echo chamber whenever we're not insulting each other. So honestly, us saying that you're wrong is probably just us welcoming you to the show in our own
Yep.
little way.
It's our little way of embracing you and
Yeah,
accepting
that's.
you.
Okay.
I don't know
cool.
why it's
You
our,
made it.
why it's our initiation, but it is. So I
Mhm.
apologize, I guess, but welcome. So, but anyway, so other than that, I saw Nerd Chronic throw in a question on there, and because I'm going to commission Nerd Chronic to do a Schmoedown Nashville promo somehow, I'm going to get his question here. He says, Abby, what match between any two players or any two teams do you really want to see?
Ooh, that is a good question. I would love to see maybe, I would love to see, oh my gosh, now I have so many choices. Maybe like a 2015 Josh McCouga who like
Dun dun dun.
No, see, this is what happens. Like, Abby, you still with us? You're freezing up on our end. Hold on, let me move you around. Okay, Abby is currently AFK for the time being.
Dang it.
Whoa.
We broke her.
Oh,
There she
back.
is.
There
We
she
got
is.
her.
I'm back.
He's back.
Hello.
All right, you're back. Carry
Sorry
on.
about that.
All right.
Did you get my answer?
No,
we
it
get
shows
it.
up when you're
Okay,
answering.
I said a 2015 Josh McCouga versus an Andrew guy, because Josh McCouga had like the guessing power that he truly did in like 2014, 2015.
Drew
kind of
Barrymore,
a-
wasn't that one of them?
Right. Just the incredible wild card factor to both of them in that, I think, would be a pretty solid match.
Yes.
I'm on board with that.
McCouga's like low-key knowledge is ridiculous. He casually just knows so many movies that outside of Bad Boys.
Real low key, like real low key.
Like Tom Hiddleston,
Real
low key.
like low key.
James.
See what I did there? See what I did there?
Yeah.
I did. I saw that.
So James Spence, fan of the show.
I
Yeah.
thought of him.
Top 5 fan of the show. Friend is subjective depending on the episode. Top 5 competitors, Abby.
Ooh,
Andrew
okay.
guy. Oh.
Okay, I would say Rachel Cushing, Dan Murrell, John Roca. Okay, Mike Kalinowski. How many is that? 4?
That's
Yeah.
four.
4.
4. Okay. And then Ben Bateman. Just to continue to be controversial.
Every word of that was wrong. For
Stick
us.
to your guns, Abby. Stick to your guns. I'm a firm. Here's the honest truth: is that even if we don't agree with it, I don't agree with every one of my podcast thoughts and opinions on it. But when you do, you just have to fight it, and you have to say, no, you're wrong. To them, don't even have discussion with them. Just dig it deeper. Just gotta stay in your hole, and everybody just stays in their holes, and that's the best way to stay on the show.
Yeah,
Hashtag stand your ground.
it's a hill I'm willing to die on. So I'm okay with that.
That's fair. James
I
is
mean,
saying,
that's a thought. To be fair and non-biased, that is a pretty solid list.
yeah, no,
I
it's
love
all,
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan Murrell is
Terrible
basically
list.
has always been my favorite, one of my favorites. So
Mhm.
what's wrong with that? We share a name. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. So
Oh yeah.
We
oh,
also
I
have
have
some
a
questions from DTA about predictions on the Arizona shows.
ooh,
For
yeah,
everyone, I believe. That was for everyone, I believe.
yeah. Everybody's asking. Bibbs versus Chance. Who you got?
I got Chance on a 5-point question because Bibbs notoriously great in round 1, great in round 2, questionable in round 3.
Are you just forgetting casually the fact that he's a former belt holder? I mean,
For what, like a week and a half?
versus Chance, who did he recently lose to? Like,
And he lost the belt to Roca. Ugh. God.
top 5.
He shouldn't even be on the show anymore. If you lose the belt to Roca, we're gone. Worst.
Gosh, what was I gonna?
Okay.
Man.
he's
in
a
a grudge
free-for-all
match.
winner, almost a two in a row free-for-all winner. I mean, that is ridiculous.
He's never won the free-for-all. Ask Andrew Guy. He's never won the free
He
for all.
won the most rounds in the fucking free for all.
All right.
My question is there
Yeah.
chairs involved? Does Bibbs have a chair to sit in, or is he standing?
I think
He doesn't have a leg to stand on.
you will not do it.
Abby, I got a question for you. I'm going to take it away from Arizona for just a second because I don't remember what the main event is right now. But before I ask for her opinion on Chance v. Bibbs, if you have, and you do have your own show, if you have a show and you have any Schmoedown competitor to be like a co-host for, I don't know, now until oblivion, who do you have on there as a co-host?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I feel like, is it maybe like a John Roca would be really fun to talk to because he always just has like, he's so invested in it, I feel like, as well. And he would always just have new opinions on the up and comers in the league for sure. Or Josh McCouga.
Have you heard that John Roca is thinking about possibly retiring?
So
And
you might
being
have a shot.
Yes, I did.
competing and being a manager instead?
Yeah, he did. Like, I did go to the top 10 show in Chicago, and he did kind of like hint that he's questioning how long he is going to last in the Schmoedown, which like made me sad. But I feel like he would always kind of be involved in some way, like a Sam Levine, you know?
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, I don't think that, love or hate Roca, and a lot of us have a lot of negative feelings on Roca, which I'm not going to fault you. I think that he'd still be an interesting person to have as like a podcast host because he'd be a great dynamic. I would almost pick Roca, honestly, just because I would love to just have the negativity rant off of him. Like we'd have a relationship where I could always talk just as much shit to him, and it would fly so naturally that I think it would just bounce back and forth. I think that's good chemistry. But that aside, like love or hate Roca, and most of us know where we land on that fence, is that like even if he's gone, it does take away moments for me to sit here and say, man, I don't get to see like Roca lose anymore or stuff like that. There's like some of my favorite moments are Roca losing or Roca getting tackled and stuff like that. So love him or hate him, he does add something by being there.
Yes.
That's something I know is
You're right, 100%.
Right. I think that's controversial at times for this cast, but I
Roca is one person I would definitely like root for Mike Kalinowski to beat him.
Yeah.
You know what? He serves his purpose. That's what he does.
You're right. He serves like it's the difference on him and Mike. I love this contrast. Is that Roca, or rather Mike, you kind of like love to hate. Like you're like, all right, when I dislike Mike, I'm like, I low-key actually like him still, even if I don't hate him. And it's hard to kind of like validate his heelness in that way. Whenever like Roca's on screen and we really dislike him, I'm like, do I really dislike Roca or is he just being a really good heel? And there's a time where I'm like kind of coin flipping it. And it's fine because Roca doesn't watch our show, so he's not going to sit here and provide a commentary into our show.
Well, we don't know. He might pop on now that he heard that Abby's our co-host.
Yes, he might be on our show.
yeah. You know what? You're right. Abby might bring him out from the shadows, and he'll just be like, Abby, anytime you want to come on top 10, just come on over. He literally might. That's been crazy tonight.
I mean, we know Belford's other nickname is the Our Roca, so it could be him still.
Who do you think would be who do you think would win? See, one-on-one, Scoops McGee or Dan Murrell? That's my question, Abby.
Who was the first one?
Scoops McGee versus Dan Murrell.
Scoops McGee?
Who's that?
Oh, apparently you don't know Dan Murrell. You don't watch the Screen Junkies.
No,
Dang.
I'm not.
Okay.
I used to watch movie fights in like 2015, and then I kind of dropped off.
Well, then throw away that question.
Okay, sorry.
Anything else to say?
Belford wants to have our Roca shirt on stream, so there it is.
That's right. There it is. Action Industries Advisory Board official. Sweet hoodies from Andrew Guy.
Let's go get mine, actually. Oh, gosh.
Too late. I got mine. It's the first one. I'm the only one.
No.
I'm too lazy to get
Abby,
mine.
So you've watched since 2015. What was the first Schmoedown match you ever watched?
I watched the first episode I watched was season 2 at the beginning of the teams tournament. So I had started watching that summer, and then they were hyping up that the Schmoedown was coming back. And I was like, what is that? And then I went and watched season 1, and then I was ready for season 2.
Awesome.
All right, maybe I
Yeah.
have this question: what classic like team that's maybe broken up or hasn't been around, say like a Profiles or original box office breakdown? Like, which team would you like to
Oh.
see come back?
Team champions, team champs.
I would love to see, and I know I just like talked about how much I like John Roca. I would love to see Mark Riley and Dan Murrell be a team. I think they would be really good. What was there? Wasn't it like the Champs or something?
Team
Yeah,
champ.
Yep.
team champs.
Yeah.
Team champs.
Yeah, that was, I think now would be a really strong team, even though I do like where they're both, I do like both their teams now with Who's the Boss and Dan and John Roca's team, but
Mhm.
that would be cool.
You know what team I wish had the opportunity to stay together from the Anarchy tournament?
Scream it, Alex. Oh, never mind. Never mind. That's not where I thought you were going. I thought you were.
No, definitely not. It was the Crazy 80 Greats.
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
that fucking match was so good. So fucking good.
Oh man.
They did not get enough credit for it. It was like what? It was like against Take the Cannoli, and it was like 32 against 30.
No, it was the boss on the first one.
It was like crazy against two brand new teams that have never played together before. What do you want?
Right.
You hear them?
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. That's not
What
a
about the
child.
other
That's
guys?
a cat.
Yeah.
What about anybody else, Dylan? What team would you like to see reform come back?
I won't lie. I'm gonna use Alex's answer. Like my love for Zipper is not quiet at all, and I think Haley Fouch is probably now one of the most highly underrated players.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
she's
And she's
insane.
in that tournament coming up.
Yeah, she is. She's paired up against Irwin, and I love her. I think she's super solid.
Mhm.
But
I'm going back for
I
my
still-
answer. I'm going back OG team profiles for life. Hashtag we miss Red Fury. Scott Mans. We need more Scott Mans back in the Schmoedown, I think.
Do we though?
Yes. Yeah, we do.
Why? Why?
Yeah, we do.
No.
Yes.
I want the
No.
Patriots back. Bring back the Patriots, the greatest heel team
Yo,
outside of
I'm
team
not gonna
action.
lie. I was like, I loved them together. They were such a great team. And what were they like? 8-0, 9-0. I mean 9-0 before they
9 wins, 7 defenses, or 6 defenses, or something like that.
It was so
defenses.
ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
They beat above the line. They beat them.
Yeah.
Like
They beat top 10. Like, I don't even know how many times.
Well,
which for you guys, here's a quick question, maybe for Abby as well. So we talked about the Smets Kalinowski match and how like a lot of people just thought Smets was going to win, and then Kalinowski wins. And I feel like the same feeling was when it was Above the Line versus the Patriots. Like most people just thought that Above the Line was going to steamroll the Patriots and win the belts, and then like the Patriots won. What's the most shocking like victory? Or like not necessarily an upset, just that like something you expected to go one way that just completely went another way in the Schmoedown.
Mine would definitely be Dan Murrell, Andrew Guy. Like,
yes.
I know that's such a basic answer, but like,
it's the
that's
true
just-
answer though.
yeah, like who would have, like, I felt like I would have never predicted that would have happened, you know?
I didn't either.
That's a great
Yeah.
answer because a lot of people have this like misconception about that match that like Dan just played this terrible match and Guy just had like the greatest match he could ever possibly have. Like Dan actually played well in that match. Like,
Yeah.
it's just everything that could go right for Drew went right. And I'm pretty sure like that's any Schmoedown match. Like,
But it's
Yeah.
like, God, I mean, he didn't just get lucky. He, like a lot of people say, it was pure luck that he just happened to win. No, he got all the questions right that Merle got wrong. I mean, and he yelled at the very end, what was it, child 13 or
44.
whatever it
Child
was?
44.
Yeah,
Child
that's
44.
44. Thank you. And he was right. He was right on the money. So people keep putting him down, and he's keeping slept on, and I don't understand. It's frustrating.
For me, the most shocking win ever, though, because Andrew's been in like high profile, like he was in a number one contenders match with Ben. Like he knows what he's doing. When Makuga beat Anfako and Draco. Like, that's my favorite, like, shocking victory ever. Like, I did not expect Makuga to win that match at all when he faced fake Finstock.
Plus, Drew actually showed that he knows things. That he took that, was it romance? That's a low.
Yeah, romance.
It was
Yeah.
rom-com.
No one knows. It was a rom-com, whatever. Either way, he grew up as a single mom and all sisters. That's a
Yeah,
low
4
key
sisters.
strength for him that a lot of the other, especially the hardcore members, probably don't have.
Yeah. I mean,
He
look at
showed it.
Rocco, the fucking Western and biopic.
And Merle obviously didn't know well. That's why he stole all his answers from him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the best part about that match is Merle's reaction to spinning opponent's choice, because he does the shrug, like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to win no matter what." Like,
Yeah.
and then he gets romance, and it's almost like, "Oh, I forgot that was on the wheel."
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, it's been an absolute blast having all of us all together and having a great time. And while we've had a great time both flattering and insulting Abby, as is tradition for any host on our show, I do want to start to wrap up when the chat's already saying that Ben's live on AI and whatever. I'm not Ben's slave, although Abby might want to tune in. And also, Ben, it's almost midnight my time, which means it's almost midnight Abby and everybody else's time. So I'm going to be the responsible adult and start to wrap up. So firstly, we'll get us all out of the way so we have Abby all has a good chunk for herself to plug everything. But nah, scratch that. Abby, you go first. That makes way more sense. Abby, go ahead and plug yourself.
Okay.
What's going on?
Yes, follow me on social media at Abigail Freel and my YouTube channel, Abigail Freel, where I do Schmoedown reactions and breakdowns, and I just talk and rant about all the Schmoedown matches. And yeah, check me out on there. And my Twitter threads, is especially on my Twitter. Follow that for live events and Collision and Spectacular. Yes, and thank you for having me on. This was actually just so fun. I would love to come back.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All the Bateman love and Roka loves and stuff aside, no, we would absolutely love to have you back. You will definitely try to be a frequent one if we can try to get you from time to time, as long as you are available. But
Yes.
Alex, go ahead and hit us with your plugs and all the good stuff.
I am Alex Midori, whichever you prefer. You can catch me running the Call to Action podcast. If you're interacting with them on there, you're interacting with moi. Or I should say, yeah. I don't know if you could read that, but it does clearly say Mech Daddy. So just saying. But yeah, please follow us there, and I would really greatly appreciate it. And check us out on all the pages we have on Facebook. There's the Call to Action Facebook page we just made. We're super excited about it, and we also have a new Call to Action Instagram. So much Schmoedown and action love going on in those few places. So please check us out there, like, retweet, and subscribe, and all that good stuff there.
Mm-hmm. Danny, hit us with those plugs, boy.
You can find me on Twitter at DKPKP. You can find me all over on the band pages. Just look up Danny Cost. You'll find me there. And also, if you guys happen to watch, on Monday, I will be on Take 3 as part of their jukebox, and I will be on the Dance Off, which is like a music version of Movie Fights. So you might want to check that out. We're going to be airing that tomorrow, so definitely check it out. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Abby, for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Paul?
Paul Denuzio on Facebook, Paul_Denuzio at Twitter. And of course, I run the Team Action Patreon. So patreon.com/Team Action. Let's get there. A lot of cool things there. Of course, we're going to plug the Action Industries live show, August 29th, 2 days before Schmoedown, 1 day before Mark Ellis in New York. You can find ticket information on Patreon as well, and all over Action Industries.
Well, almost last but not least, Billy the Belford.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Billy Belford. I also, if you're interacting with Action Industries on Facebook, it's probably me. Yeah, it's probably me. Also, if you're looking for me on Twitter, just go to Mike Kalinowski's Twitter. You'll find me commenting about how much I hate him all over his Twitter. I'm at Mr. Billy Balford commenting about how horrible Mike Kalinowski is on Twitter. That's all I do on Twitter, so it's fun.
Turns out you're just secretly like in love with him. That's all I'm getting away from your response there.
Yeah.
Go eat a fly.
And last but of course not least, myself. You can catch me, Dylan Camacho, at Twitter at CAMACH Octopus. Don't try to pronounce that out loud. I don't know how that sounds. I might know how it's supposed to sound. It sounds weird. You can also catch me on Facebook on literally almost every Facebook group in there. The Schmoedown one, not the spoiler one. I don't believe in it. But you can catch me in all the fan groups, Team Action, Corruption, Family, Dungeon, all those places. I'm everywhere. Facebook Schmoedown. Other than that, I'll give a slight plug to Ben Bateman, who's currently streaming live on Action Industries. If you want to go check that out right after this, head on over to the Action Industries stream and go check out his stuff. Last but not least, I want to sit here and thank Abby again for proving such an awesome guest on the show.
Yay!
Yeah,
A little bit of class.
Abby,
A little bit of class to our show.
This will hopefully not ever be the last one. I don't plan on it. Anytime I get to sit here and run an episode like this, I'm just going to bring Abby on and then, I don't know, bring on like Nerd Chronic or a couple other stars like that. This chat's lighting up, so we're in no shortage of supplies. We might even try to get Mike on the show here soon. We'll see.
Well, Ben, we could get Ben and Abby because she loves Ben.
Ben Bateman would never come on to this show. We know that. He only does live interviews. I have to fly to Chicago to do it. So, last but not least, hashtag Schmoedown Nashville. Chat, I want to see that chat. I know there's 17 of you guys right now. Schmoedown Nashville, all the way down it. I'll wait.
Like it, please.
Yep.
Everyone like it.
Everybody like, everybody subscribe, everybody support.
Thumbs up it.
Schmoedown Nashville. Get it both going. I want to thank everybody for being on the show, all of our shining hosts, all of Abby, all of everybody. You all been killing it. Great show. I'll see you guys in Nashville hopefully soon. I'll see everybody at the awards even sooner than that when we're taking it. Dedicated Arts in there. They might give us a fight for it, though. I've been seeing them in chat. They're in there. But Ben thinks he's too good to come onto your podcast, says Mike. I don't know, Mike. You might be. Prove it wrong. Are you the more humble competitor, Mike? Come on to the show. But
Ben's been on the podcast.
I know
before,
Ben's on the podcast.
Yeah,
years
he
ago,
has been on.
so-
He has been technically.
I know, but he hasn't been on in a minute. So there's that.
All right.
All right,
Hashtag no. Oh, Nashville.
Schmoedown Nashville, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.